Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wired Nerdy Podcast. Oh my goodness, it is the beginning of season number 3, episode number 1. We have been on a hiatus for the holidays for a long time, and we are excited about this. Doug, it has been a minute, man. How you doing?
Yeah, it's been a minute. We did some game reviews to get us by. Some of
We
those
did.
good. I'm working on my narration skills, but I put out some pretty good content, hopefully. So
Yeah, I'm glad you brought those up. So that was our biggest thing, is that we didn't want to just not have content being put out there weekly. So Doug and I had put together what we called retro reviews, where we take a look back on just random different games that we either enjoyed or maybe didn't even enjoy in some cases, but just to unearth them, talk about how were they received back in the day, what were they like. I have fun making those videos. I think they're a lot of blast. There's a lot of memories in that because it also forces us to go back in the back catalog and play. You just did a series with the Strike series. Like you started, which one was the first one? Was it
Desert Strike? Yeah.
Desert Strike? Okay, yeah. So on that, you then ran through the whole series. I didn't play them. I played them a little bit, but I didn't play them extensively. I loved you showcasing all of those because it kind of made me think, man, I want to go back and play those.
Yeah, I liked going back to play them, but as I look on YouTube, there's some really good ones. People explain the history really well. I skipped Urban Strike and Jungle Strike. I explained it in the videos, but I covered the rest of them, and it was a good time to go back and play them.
They're fun. They're a lot of fun to do. So go back and check them out. We have them as a playlist inside of YouTube, so you don't have to like search for them. They're quick. They're like 5-minute hits, 6 minutes hits. They're fun. And we have fun making them, and we're going to keep doing them. There'll be more, but that's the content filler that we did. So we're excited to start this season. We had an awesome season last year. Some amazing guests, some amazing content. We're going to try to keep that momentum going with this coming year. And so our thing is we love all things nerdy, technology, comic books, movies, video games, you name it. We try to cover it all. Anything that, Doug and I would be interested in sitting around talking just as friends about, we want to share with everybody else and learn. So that's what this podcast's about. And we're excited to continue to get to do it with you. You know what? Let's get into it. Let's strike up some nerd news. You ready to do that?
Yeah, let's get back into it.
All right, let's queue up some nerd news.
Nerd News.
Now, we had some things take place while we were, let's see here, away. Now, this is not an extensive nerd news by any means, but it is definitely, we had some good ones. Let's go ahead and start with the big one that everybody and their cousin was talking about, and I'll let you take it.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting to watch my Facebook feed as different friends say that their TikTok shut down. So that's what we're talking about now. Is there's been a deadline of TikTok shutting down. Everybody's known the date. It's come and gone, and it's shut down. But to go back to the friends, this person, TikTok shut down. Mine lasted a while. I tried to use a VPN, but I was told even VPNs are not going to pass this law. So
yeah, it was funny to me this morning. I woke up. Now, I'm not a TikTok user, but there was people that were live streaming, and they had up till midnight while they're live streaming on TikTok or whatever. Like it would just go black, and so it was interesting. This whole thing is fascinating to me in that the company ByteDance, which is a Chinese-owned organization. I know a lot of people get confused. They're like, well, the CEO is Taiwanese, but as we know, a CEO does not own a company. And the upheaval and concern is that if you don't know, China is a communist state, and their rule on business is that you have to abide by whatever they say, meaning the government has full access to all data. And if they're tracking locations, if they're tracking anything, then that means that government has access to everything. Of course, here in the US, there are protections in place, and the only way the government can get a hold of that is if something criminal has happened and it has to go through courts and that sort of thing. So there's concern from a national security standpoint. Now, this caused an upheaval. I don't know if you know about this, but so there's all this concern about TikTok. There was one called Red Tape, I think it is. Have you heard of this?
I've heard a couple other apps trying to compete or fill the gap.
People are flocking to worse Chinese apps. One of them being, I believe it's called Red Tape.
Yeah.
It's even worse than ByteDance's TikTok. So I kind of wonder now. We're on the edge of. We're recording this. The presidential inauguration has not taken place, as we know. When there's a transfer of power, oftentimes there's a shift in policy and priority. So something may change in the coming week. I think TikTok's going to come back some way, somehow. And the biggest thing is, here in the United States, money really matters market wise. And I saw this thing about like it was 50% of adults in the United States use TikTok. And that means so many millions, it was an insane amount of number, is now going to flock to other platforms for a while. But on top of that, where the money revenue comes in is that big companies spend their advertising budget on TikTok as well. Now they're having to spend advertising budget elsewhere. Now think about all those companies that are going to have to shift to a new platform. Honestly, I think money is king, and it's about economies at this point.
Yeah.
So they'll bring it back.
Yeah. I think it's too strong to die off, but there's going to have to be some changes. My use of TikTok is literally my wife and I, we eat dinner at this little island. We watch a couple of TikTok videos, funny stuff. We laugh, eat our dinner, and then we go do chores, watch TV, do whatever. Yeah. So that is the whole
entertainment.
Yeah. That's the only time I use TikTok at all.
Gotcha. Yeah. I see most of what's on TikTok, I can see in YouTube Shorts, which I do appreciate as somebody who's not a TikTok user.
Yeah.
So.
I think we mostly watch for, not to interrupt you there, the comedy bits and some news articles from reputable sites like NBC, CNN, stuff like that.
Exactly. So I think it's going to make a comeback. I think you're right. I think it's too big to fail, whether it will be domestic owned, here's what I think will happen. I think with the new presidency in place, there will be an extension probably in place again, and it'll be reenacted, and so that they can talk through it. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, as far as the future is like, who's going to own it? And I have no clue what's going to happen with that, because this is unprecedented. We've never had like a foreign company be told that you have to be U.S. owned. This is unique territory for us.
Yeah, this is almost as interesting as Vine, but I think Vine was just too early in its day. It wasn't shut down by political ideas or different countries or governments.
Social medias have taken on a different animal at this point. So, all right, cool. That's a good one. We'll see what happens. We'll keep reporting on this one.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna jump to the big one here, because it was talked about a lot, and that is the Switch 2. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, in that people have been anticipating the Switch 2 for some time. There's been a lot of rumors. Many of those rumors turned out to be true. So they've only had a reveal video. It will be available for pre-order we don't really know yet, but there's going to be an event, one of their short events that they have, where they're going to give more details in April, I believe. And I'll play the short little video here, as long as I don't get in trouble. But everybody else and their cousin gets in trouble for playing this. I just never know anymore with YouTube. We play stuff on here.
YouTube doesn't like us, I guess. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. Like, we have a tiny audience. Like, come on. But either way, it's interesting. The paddles don't slide in. They click in, which is interesting. Yeah. I think they're magnetic. It's a bigger screen. We don't know much about the processor. They kept the cool little color, but hopefully they fix the thumbsticks, because there was a drift problem with them, and hopefully they're using what's called Hall effect switches on it, which I think they probably will. The kickstand is still there. It's a little wider. It's got some USB-C action going on, just like it did before. Dude, what are your impressions of just this? Do you think Nintendo intended to showcase this thing now, or do you think that they went ahead and pulled the trigger on it because of all of the, rumors?
I think they were pressured, because a story came out the day before of, I think, a wrap or some kind of protective wrapping a case. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. So a case came out a day before, and I think they said, oh no, we got to get ahead of this.
Yeah.
Because they came out and said, nope, this guy's wrong. This isn't what it looks like. But if you go back, that case is exactly what it looks like. It has all the new Switch 2 cutouts and the buttons and everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think
they were pressured.
Now, notice here on the video, they're showing it can be used as a mouse. I don't know if you caught that. There's a laser optical sensor on the very bottom of it, and you can flip it over. Now, think about that. If you're playing like Civilization, something like that, like a map game, that'd be kind of interesting. So I'm curious what their plans are for the mouse use.
Bringing back Mario Paint back from the good old days.
Exactly. Now, I'm glad you I'm glad you brought up the software piece. They did showcase on the device. They didn't officially announce it, but it looks like a new Donkey Kong. Sorry, not Donkey Kong. Mario Kart. I'm having a brain freeze moment here. Mario Kart. New Mario Kart game may be launching with it. So we're going to find out more as this comes to fruition. Are you going to get one? You had a Switch there for a while.
I had a Switch. I think I have my eyes set on another device, which would be a good segue into our next story.
Oh, okay. Well, hold that thought. We're going to wrap this bad boy up. So on this, if you're interested in this, I'm sure pre-orders are going to be crazy. I hopefully the scalpers won't be too bad on this, but the Switch is way more popular now than the Switch 1. It's caught on. It is backwards compatible. I do want to call that out. That's huge if you already own one, and I'm glad they're doing that. I'm curious about the specs. There are rumors.
Definitely.
If the rumors hold out, they're saying that the processor in it is relatively close to an Xbox Series S.
Very nice.
Now, if that is true, that opens up the door for more ports going to the system. A lot of people joked about like Red Dead Redemption, Halo, now that Microsoft is opening up the doors to be on any platform. But if you're interested in wanting all the details and content, there's lots of people talk about this. Now, our friends we've had on the podcast, Mr. Rightway, Neoness, and then another guy by the name of A Omega. They do a podcast on Mr. Rightway's podcast every week on Thursday nights. I love joining them. And they do it live, unlike us where we record. They do it live, and people can join in on YouTube and make comments. And it's a blast because you get to see people real time giving feedback to what they're talking about. I love the podcast. I think it's great. They did an episode just last week on this because it was the same day that it launched. They go in deep talking about all the possibilities, all this. So if you want to know more about it, I encourage you to check out that podcast. And you just want a good live podcast that you can interact with. Now, if you're not watching it live, you can watch it. It's recorded. And so you can just go to Rightway's YouTube channel. But we've had them on our program here. Awesome dudes. They're amazing people. Check it out. So if you want to know more about this, I don't want to beat a dead horse. They covered it far better than what I could on it. But I don't know. I'm on the fence yet as to whether or not I'm going to get one. I got out of the Switch game. Now, there are custom games. You've got Zelda. You've got the Marios. And so there is that. But I'm on the fence because my other Switch, I got rid of it because it just sat. I loved it, but it just sat. Why? Because of my Steam Deck and now my PlayStation Portal. Those became my mobile elements, and I have such a huge Steam library. But maybe I'll get back into it. I don't know. Like you said, that segues into the next one that I want you to take on here because you mentioned it.
So what I'm really interested in, I had a Steam Deck, but I got an amazing deal. Someone wanted to buy it, so I had to get rid of that. So I'm in the market for a handheld. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a long time, but then boom, CES comes. That's a Consumer Electronics Show. Make sure I say the right thing. So it comes along, and then Lenovo. I love the guys at Lenovo. I've had 2 different laptops from them. They are now releasing their second generation of the Lenovo Legion Go. Tongue twister there.
That's a lot of L's.
But they're also releasing a Legion Go S powered by SteamOS, which is what I'm super excited for.
I agree with you. Yeah.
This will be the first handheld that's powered by SteamOS outside of Valve's own Steam Deck.
Yep.
So this is going to be a pretty big deal. The Lenovo Legion Go, the first one, I believe, if I'm saying the right name, really good reviews. It's got Windows 11 on it. You do all kinds of stuff with it. But I think you've talked before about how Windows 11 is not really mobile based. It's kind of hard. You've got some formatting issues with the screen resolutions and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude. So we have this conversation a lot in our group chats, and I'm very passionate about it. I have strong opinions about this. So you're right. When you go handheld, you can go with SteamOS, which is a Linux based, and it's made for handhelds. Or you can go Windows. They've taken and you can run Windows on it. Okay, Windows. You can do so much more. Like you can run Game Pass easier if you do Xbox Game Pass. You can do things very easy. Windows has an awesome versatility to it. I will give it that. You can also use it as a full-blown desktop in a much easier way. However, if you know Windows, you're now dealing with drivers, and that can get wonky sometimes. And then on top of that, with Windows, it's a memory hog. It's I don't know, it's a battery suck. It's not efficient. Its sleep function sometimes works on, and Legion, Lenovo isn't the only one doing this. They have, the ROG. Those other devices that are Windows based. My issue is that you got to dilly dick around with those settings. And a lot of people love the options. They love all the options and they love tweaking. For me, for mobile gaming on the go, I just want to pick up and go. I just want it to freaking work.
Yeah.
And it's tough. So my issue I have, if Windows was optimized for mobility, then I think it would be a different story. Now, I don't doubt a lot of people throw up, yeah, but the ROG and the Legion Windows based, they're so much more powerful. Well, they have to be more powerful because they're running Windows. Windows is not as efficient with the CPU threads, not as efficient with the with the RAM, the way that it handles all of that. So thus that goes into your battery life. So my issue I have with Windows, it's powerful. You can do a lot with it. More power to you if you like it. I personally, for me, I don't think it's the optimized best way to mobile game. I just don't. I think that is the advantage of Steam OS. It is more efficient. It does better with battery life. You don't need as much power. It does more with less because it's Linux based. Getting off my nerd soapbox for a moment there. Now, to your point, what I love is this bad boy right here. It's a non-Valve, which is the company that owns Steam. It's not a Steam Deck, but you're running Steam OS on this bad boy. That makes it very appealing to me. You are right. I mean, because everybody's waiting on the Steam Deck 2. We don't know if we'll get it in 2025. Maybe we will. If so, I would love to do that. But I'll tell you what, bro. Now that Valve's opened up Steam OS, and they already kind of did, but they're really encouraging third parties like the Lenovo. You're right, that's a tongue twister. The Lenovo Legion Go to run it. Ooh, that makes it. Ooh, that really turns my head. At that point, I'm like, okay, if I really wanted to kind of the next step up from my Steam Deck, I could go with one of these, because I'm pro Steam OS until Windows comes out with an optimized handheld version of their OS, which there's rumors that there's a subset of engineers inside of Microsoft that may be working on it. And so if that's true, that may change the game a little bit, but I'm with you, man. The processor they put in these bad boys, we're talking AMD Ryzen. The specs are better than the deck. Ooh, it's beautiful. But to me, I wish I would know before I would consider the Legion Go. I would love to know where the Steam Deck 2's release date is.
Yeah,
I don't know. So you just got rid of the Steam Deck. Where are you at with this? Are you waiting? Because this is a good alternative. Now, unless you want to go Windows, I won't criticize you if you want to go Windows.
Yeah.
I won't agree with it, but I'm not going to criticize you because I do see the value in it, but I think you're going to take a hit on battery life and that kind of thing. But what are your thoughts, man? Are you going to get back into the handheld game at some point? You waiting? What do you?
I think the mystery is a Steam Deck 2 coming out this year or not? I really want a handheld. I've got some trips and traveling to do this year. It'd be nice to have a handheld, not take my laptop. And but I don't have to worry about doing the whole Steam Deck Steam Link and having to have my laptop on at home the whole time. I can just have that.
Because you have a Legion
docking station.
You have a Legion laptop. It looks similar to this one on the screen.
Yes,
it's not the same model. This is a newer model, I think, but you have
got
this
the
bad boy, don't you?
i5 2022 edition, gotcha. 23 edition.
Yeah. It's still pretty beefy. You got a 3000 series RTX video.
A 3070. Yep.
Yeah, that's still pretty beefy. That's not bad for what you're doing. But I see your point. Then you don't have to mess around with having your laptop with you.
The laptop's pretty easy to take on the go. It's not like a desktop, obviously, the box and all that stuff. But it's still pretty cumbersome, and it's my only computer. I hate to damage it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think I'm going to look at this. I was told, I believe this comes out around May.
Yeah.
The Steam version, the Windows version is going to come out pretty soon, maybe even already out, or it's coming out in a month. It's coming out pretty quick.
So
I think I'm going to wait for the Steam version. I've downloaded programs on my Steam Deck for Epic Games and Prime Gaming and other stuff like that.
You could do the same. You could do your retro games on this Legion. If you're running the Steam OS, man, you could do the same. Of course, you could do it on Windows too. But it works the exact same way. Here's the question. Did you see, I think it was my brother, sent us the Legion advertisement. And did you see what they were promoting with this? These glasses? The Legion? What are your thoughts on these? First of all,
they're trying to
what they
bring
are.
those back. I keep going back to the days of Google Glass, and they look weird. But these are trying to be. Are they trying to be the Vision Pros? I don't know. They're trying to be a projector in front of your face, I think.
Yeah, they're augmented reality glasses, and kind of like the Vision Pro in a way, in that you could have a massive screen in front of you, but it's inside the glasses. I'm gonna see if I can find that video.
I think it said it would get you up to 100 or 120 inch screen.
Yeah, if you're on
kind
a
of
plane,
like you're at a movie
right?
theater or something. 126 inch right there. Micro OLED screen.
So if you're on a like a flight, you don't want to travel with an actual monitor, you could use these. And what's cool about them is they're powered from the Legion Go from the video, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think they are. The question I have, and I know I've asked it before on this podcast, is we've had 2K, 4K, 8K. What's 12K's next or something? At what point do our eyes not recognize super high resolution? Because our eyes aren't upgrading, but the TV's upgrading. If that makes sense.
There is limit to like the range of what we can see. So I do wonder that myself. And we've had this conversation. I have to admit, man, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, but it's like I can't tell the difference sometimes between I know I can't between 4K and 8K.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like I don't know, 1080p and 4K. I'm like, I don't know, 1080p is good to me. So maybe it's a little bit crisper. I know. And that's weird for me as a tech guy to say. But yeah, they're promoting these glasses. I love the idea behind them, though, is that you'd have a massive screen with you when you're traveling. I like that they're powered from the device, so you don't have all these cables coming everywhere. And you can see right now, like what it looks like. They're playing Baldur's Gate, and that's the screen inside the glasses on this video. And I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool that they're doing that. So if you're really a big gamer on the go and you wanted to have a massive screen, but you don't want to haul the monitor with you, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Starfield on there.
There you go. Playing some Starfield. I don't know, man. I think it's cool. I love that the Legion Go's doing this. I love that Steam OS is a part of it. I'm excited to see if Windows has a handheld mode. This is all good. We win because of competition in this. So it'll be cool. But I'll be curious to see what you end up doing after you wait and see what comes out. Of course, your luck, you'll probably decide to pull the trigger on one of these, and then the Steam Deck 2 will get announced.
Yeah, and that's my fear, I think. So I'll wait until it's released. I may not pre-order just to give Valve enough time to say Steam Deck 2 or no, now we're in the OS business.
The one thing I'm curious about with the Legion Go, and maybe, is like what I love about the Steam Deck is so easy to swap out the internal hard drive, the SSD. I wonder if it's the same for the Legion Go.
Yeah, we did a lot of customization for the Steam Deck, so it'd be nice if this was the same way. Now, I've already seen pricing information. I'm not seeing on this website, but they're going to have the LCD just like the Steam Deck and the OLED for the Steam Deck, the new Legion Go S as well.
If you can trust the AI overview, it says yes, you can. Now, this is probably from the prior model. If you could do it on the prior model, I bet you could do it.
I would assume they wouldn't change too much.
I would
just
think
internals
so.
Only. Yeah,
I would think so. I mean, there's a YouTube video I found here that this is how to actually do it. They talk about the different. There you go. How to take it apart. All this kind of stuff. Preparing your SSD. Let's see here. I just want to see it apart. Oh, look, it looks super easy. Look, that back panel just popped off. Oh, I forget because on this older model, the paddles come off. Yeah.
Yep. And then I think one of them was you could use as a mouse.
Yes, you can. Yeah. Which is a really cool feature. Very similar to what you see the Switch 2 doing. So yeah, man, you can see him working on it here. You can do it. It doesn't look hard at all. I don't know, man. I'm kind of impressed. These Legions are, I don't know, maybe. Maybe. Now that you can do Steam OS on them, I don't know.
Now, here's a website that says the Legion Go S will support SSDs of 2242 and 2280. That's the
go up to 4
type
terabyte
of SSD. Yep.
4 terabyte higher. The dude's doing it right there. It's cake, man.
I think it's going to be easy, and we'll have to do a video on that.
I'll tell you what, this makes it compelling to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. kudos to Valve for allowing their OS onto other hardware. Do you think there is that option that if these get good enough, Valve will be like, you know what, we don't need to make the Steam Deck anymore. We'll just let third party
Yeah.
do it. I mean, they're getting their money on the games. I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
They did start this, so we'll see. All right, last thing is there was an announcement for a trailer. I'm gonna let you take this bad boy.
Yeah, so they released a trailer for Daredevil. I shared it with us during the Wired that news today because I'm not much on the Daredevil storyline. I watched the Daredevil movie back in the day. I thought it was terrible, but I didn't really know the
The one with
story.
Ben Affleck?
Yeah, I just thought
It was
a
kinda
blind man is whooping all these people up, but I know there's way more to it to
Yeah,
that.
there
Don't
is.
send me hate mail or nothing.
Wait, have you watched this? Have you watched this show?
I have not.
It's pretty decent. It was
Yeah.
one of the earlier Marvel TV shows, and they actually did a really good job. And what they did, they explained how the blind man can do it, like with his sensing, and they kind of show
Okay.
you. So this guy does a great job at the character. So give it a run. I will admit to you, I didn't finish the series. I started it and I never finished it, just because it got busy. So I've always told myself I need to go back and watch them. I'm going to admit something to you here, though. My main reason for wanting to go back and watching it is because they introduced the Punisher, which in Marvel, Punisher was my guy. Like, I didn't collect a lot of Marvel comics. I collected some X-Men, some Wolverine, but I had tons of Punisher comics. I loved Punisher, and he is actually in this universe. And they had the actor John Barathol, who was in Walking Dead, play the Punisher, who is perfect. And they did even a spin-off Punisher show, which I hadn't watched yet because I wanted to watch his introduction in here. There he is, actually. They're talking about spinning off and doing more Punisher as a result of this. That guy right there with the beard, that's Punisher. So I'm excited because they have one of my favorite characters from Marvel in it. And I think I'm not a huge Daredevil fan. I like the show, but I think this is why I'm excited about it. So I need to go back, watch them, check out the Punisher, because I'm going to be watching it for that reason. That's my take on it. But you should give it a go. It's really good. If you like, especially if you like martial arts. Yeah. Lots of fighting. It's brutally violent. It's probably one of the more violent Marvel ones, which I liked. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited about it. All right. You ready to get into our main thing? What's our main topic? Let's go ahead and shift gears here.
Yeah, as you're setting that up, we have talked about RonCon with Ron Danuser. If you go back to season 2, episode 11, we got the great conversation with the Danusers, both Ron and Jamie, I believe is her name. Mm-hmm. I'm having brain farts today, but in that episode, we talked about all the models that Ron makes. We talked about all the awesome, amazing art he does. He does costumes for his daughters, but he also does a thing called RonCon. It's a Ron convention. He started it about 3 years ago, I believe. This is number 4 this year. We were able to attend. We'll talk about that in a sec. But it's really good for the community to bring him in and play games. And he said he's going to do some workshops next year, possibly on how he makes his art and makes his little figures and stuff. But enough rambling by me. We're going to get into RonCon 4. That's what we went to this year, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. So we took some images we're just going to share and kind of walk through them as refresher memories for us. So they have these really cool badges, and they have an awesome logo. Yeah, this is what you said was your main swag, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they had a great turnout this year. As you can see, this is a Street Fighter board game that I was able to play with one friend of ours. They had game masters at every table that would run a game. So if you hadn't played it before, they walk you through. I had never played this. Our good friend Alan owns this, and it was a labor of love for him to put this together. And it's essentially like the video game, but pretty complex. Every card, think of like Magic the Gathering type, had a lot of stats on it, and you had to play it almost like chess with moving through the squares. You know, I'm Guile playing against a kid that was Ryu. He kicked my tail, by the way. He just absolutely dominated me. But we've got more pictures of that. But it was a relatively small venue, but they had a great turnout. I mean, there's a lot of people that had a concession stand there. And they had a schedule. You had to pre-register, correct? For each one of those?
Each table, yeah, I know some of them filled up. I had registered for Catan, which is an awesome game, and then we both registered for a D&D campaign.
Yep, we did
later.
Yep. And otherwise, there's games you can pop in like Street Fighter. You see me here. There's a Street Fighter game that ran all day, and then they did like a big tournament for. And for a moment here, I'll show you like after the tournament what they were doing. Jamie Danuser right here showcased. She is Ron's wife and was on the podcast with us when we had them interviewed last season. And she would stop the commotion every so often and do an announcement. They gave away door prizes. Many of them were things that they had made. Did you see the shield? I think we may have an image.
It was awesome. I know the other thing they gave away were some new board games. Really good stuff over there.
They did. They had board games because they collect board games themselves.
Yeah.
And so they're huge into wanting to encourage people in playing board games. There's the Catan. This is was this your Catan game? I think it was the one that you played, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I played 2 rounds of this. I got beat both times. If you don't know about Catan, that's a whole nother episode, but it's kind of a bartering, trading, building your little empire with cities and settlements and roads and stuff.
It's a great game. The thing about it that blew my mind, I played it, I owned it. It's fun. It's really good. I didn't know about all the add-on packs. There's like a Knights one. Like I look behind you.
Cities and Knights.
Yeah, dude. Like the table behind you had a whole stack of add-ons.
There's a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Expanded boards.
Like, now, there's a photo coming up. Yep. We talked about how Ron is really good. This right here, all these are 3D printed. So you saw the standard game board. It's just got
flat 2D.
Illustrated flat tiles. This right here is their upgraded board. And all this, I believe I heard, was 3D printed and painted by Ron, Jamie, and his girls, the family there. So
it's beautiful. And what's funny,
it's amazing.
Doug, you and I talked about like Target, they sold an official 3D version of this game.
It was expensive.
It was a minimum. I think I found it like $250 at one point, but some of them, like especially if you go on Etsy, they go to like $500. And this was 3D printed and hand painted. Look how gorgeous it is. I loved it. I thought this just shows you the art that the family is capable of generating. So yeah, it was just absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to go back to the beginning because I don't want to.
So Catan 3D right now is running for $230.
There you go. There's the price check, and the normal one is right up here.
Yeah, and that's probably a $50 game, $40 game.
Probably. Yeah, sometimes you can get sales, especially Black Friday. It's pretty popular.
Yeah,
but you see them playing here at the base, the 3D version, which, as you see, the colors are more vibrant. It pops, dude. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see this is a top-down view of everybody playing it. Each one is a different game station with different game masters. And
they had different games, I believe, starting every hour or every 30 minutes.
About that. It was varied, and you had to pre-register. You can see Doug's hand here. I was sneaking a picture on him. And let's just get to something good here. Do you want to talk about the D&D stuff?
Oh, my gosh. So later that afternoon, we watched a bunch of games. They had a little concession stand. I mean, they had this very well organized. Mm-hmm. So then the time comes for you and I to sit down for a little D&D session, D&D campaign. And the first thing that Ron sets down is this grassy area. And on top of the grassy area, then we get like a little pen, for pigs, horses, cows, whatever. And a vegetable garden. So I think I zoom into the vegetable garden, but
he says
those little things are peppercorns from like a pepper meal.
Yep.
And he's hand painted them to look like squash, pumpkin, gourd, stuff like that.
Yep.
The detail's amazing. So each character, I have a character that someone 3D printed for me, but Ron's got you covered. He's got all this. So all this is meticulously hand painted by him. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the detail, the belt, the sword, the shoes, cape, everything. It's amazing.
And they were because of time is of the essence. It's what you would call a one-shot campaign. So it's supposed to be relatively condensed and quick because you are limited. But they also did pre-made characters, and he would hand you not only your character sheet with your stats in it, but then also your minifig. And he had hand painted these, and you can see as he started populating, there's a little wagon, got hay.
The hay's crazy.
Oh my gosh, crates. As you went through here, what he really cool, he handed out these tokens.
Yeah.
So you would know it would help him as a dungeon master, because Ron was running the game, what turn you were. And each one of these tokens were a different color. Like mine was blue, yours was black, there was a yellow, orange, red, each one of these. And he hand painted all of this. He made all of these items. There's Ron running the game.
Yep.
And he did a fantastic job, not only as a DM, but look at this action shot. You can see it made it more immersive. That's what I will say, is his art and all this 3D stuff. It made it so much more immersive to me versus just the static, map. Now, what was hilarious was Doug was inside of his character was inside this tower, and then he made it inside the tower. Ron would take and peel people off and give them details about the campaign, secrets. So you were told something. What were you told?
So as we're looking right here, there's kind of different levels here. So we have the outside area, which is where we first started. We're on a farm setting or something. But then we go into the castle or the keep, and that little stone tablet right there represents the floor of the keep.
Yeah.
So then inside there, Ron had this all detailed. There's a rope you slide down into this cavernous area with lots of different little caves and a waterfall feature.
Yeah. This was
luminescent, glowing mushrooms, I believe.
Yeah. So when Doug entered this room, he pulled out this massive block of foam. All this is carved out with foam, hand painted, made by him. And there's more. There's the real detailed version of the peppercorn there, by the way. Sorry if these are out of order. There's a detailed version of the hay. We're going to get to some of these. You can see some of the handwork there. It's a shot of some of his miniatures that he has. He had so many things. And again, I apologize, guys, for this being out of order. But you get into like that cave, and he had all of these different things, these alcoves that he had created. And it was just right there. There we go. Back. It was just so impressive. You can see this is a zoomed out view. Now on this, I do want to point out that you brought dice sets, but we're very tech heavy. You can see we were able to have our iPads out, and we were using D&D Beyond. And what was your experience with that?
Well, I know your experience. You had some pretty bad rolls there. But,
oh God! Well, wait a minute. I had bad rolls virtually, and the kid next to me.
Good rolls with the dice.
No. What happened was.
Oh, okay.
I had bad rolls on my iPad, and everybody's like, "Oh, use the physical dice." I used the physical dice. I had a good roll on the physical dice. I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep using them. Then my next multiple rolls on the physical dice were bad, and I was like, screw it. I'm going back to the iPad. Because it does all of the math for you with the multipliers. That's what I like. So.
Yeah, my thought on D&D Beyond is just like you said, all the multipliers, all the stuff, you track your spells. Mm-hmm. I have never been a cleric, and you get to use some spells and stuff there, and it worked great. I got to track how many spells I'd used, and multiple dice are used for the spells. You have your roll for initiative and roll for damage. Mm-hmm. So the technology aspect of it mixed with the old school aspect of it, I've never been good at math, so if something's going to do math for me, I'm way happier.
And it was hilarious too, because not only were we using technology for our dice rules, but Ron had props like this. This was something that was handed to you. It's a health potion, all made by him. He would get into his box. He hand one kid a bone. So he really gets into the props because he can make them. And they're gorgeous. And so it really made for an immersive experience for sure.
Well, and I think he's got so much stuff prepared. There's a photo, you may not be able to find it, but I took a photo of all his characters in waiting, per se. He has...
That was back here.
What I call toolboxes, I guess. He has toolboxes of just characters upon characters upon characters of whatever's going to come next. He can go grab it out of his box and put it into play. He did that a couple times. It was really good.
Yeah.
And they're all handcrafted, all hand painted. Right there.
Yep. There's so many of them. Like, it was crazy the amount of stuff that he had. I was impressed. It got me back into thinking about D&D and the immersion aspect of it. Now definitely. I have now it's sent me down this path of, okay, I don't have the talent of Ron to be able to paint in time. I don't have the space to do all this, but I have this wild hair idea. Because we want to do more D&D on our own. I thought about doing one of those virtual tables, and I've been talking to my brother, who's the master builder. He's the one that has like Ron Danuser level talent, about building one for us that could be portable. So if we decide to do that, if we decide to go down that route, we will showcase it for you all as one of our episodes. But that was spawned by this experience that we had with Ron Danuser, because Doug and I were talking about, like, we love the idea of the tangible, like what you can touch, to make it more immersive like this. However, what if you were to blend in some of the technology? Because instead of having to make all this out of foam board, have a digital board, but still use the minifigures. So this was something Doug and I started talking about, overall.
Yep. I think it'd be a lot of fun. This is awesome. This is amazing, but it does take up a lot of room. It takes up a lot of time. And I was really worried, he gave all these out to us to use, but I'm worried, he's worked so hard on these. I didn't want anything to happen to him.
That is true. And I know he meant for them to be played, but he said it's taken him decades to make.
You can see the bone in this photo.
Yeah, you see the bone in the photo that the kid got. But yeah, it's taken him decades to make this stuff. Like, it's a lifelong project.
And I've got to do a shout out real quick. And Ron's listening; he's gonna recognize it as well. The hand of this kid next to me, he was rolling
20s,
perfectly. I mean, he had the
18.
best set of dice. Ron said, "Okay, yeah." The kid would say something.
He would do ridiculous things.
And Ron said, "Okay, I'm going to pick a high number," and the kid rolled the high number.
Yeah, like for example,
what?
You see these characters in the distance off over here. He says, "I'm going to throw my sword." Now Ron points out, like, that sword is like a 50-pound sword. Ain't no way you're going to be able. So Ron would give him like a high. All right, well, you got to roll an 18. This kid hit a natural 20, and then I'm like, oh.
And Ron, I mean, you have to. Yeah, well, you succeeded.
It was.
One of the things, he pushed this cart over a goblin.
Yeah, right.
And Ron's like, "This cart's really heavy, give me an 18." And
20.
I think he 20. Okay, and he rolled a 20. Yeah, okay.
It was insane. And the kid next to me,
was on fire.
The kid next to me goes, "I think his dice are weighted." And I'm like, but he borrowed them from somebody.
Ron gave them to him.
Oh my gosh, that was insane.
Yeah, so Ron brought a whole suitcase of dice. If you didn't have dice, boom, that's your first set of dice right there. And Ron is a great guy with this.
It speaks to the community of it. He wants everybody to be included. Oh, absolutely. Him and his wife do, and they're always so proud. So it was great. Now, we did get it. I'll weave it in. We did get an opportunity to interview Ron. I'm going to plug that in. Probably, I can plug it in right about now.
Let's take a break. We'll put that in there for a second.
Okay.
Hey guys, this is Keith with the Wired Nerdy Podcast. I'm here with Ron Danuser. Ron was on our podcast, which is how we found out about RonCon. We're here today having a blast. How's it going? Like, are you having a good time? I mean,
fantastic time. Yeah, it's so good to see so many people. We never know if anybody's going to show up, but every year a ton of people show up, and I think this year we had good growth, and I see lots of people having fun, interacting with people they don't know, making friends. And I don't see hardly any cell phones out taking up people's time.
That's good. Great. Except for ours, because we're taking pictures.
Well, yeah.
We're the tech guys, so what are you going to do?
Sure.
You have a great turnout. Like, how long does it take you to prep for this? Like, are you doing it all year long, or do you wait? Like, do you do 6 months right before the event? Like, because you put a lot of effort in this. You make things for prizes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're scheduling all the games.
Yeah.
So how long does it take you?
So we should work on it all year long, but we don't. Unfortunately, this year we waited, I don't know. I think we started scheduling people to run games about 3 months out.
Okay.
4 months out.
Okay.
So luckily we know people that are willing to come out and run games for us, which is huge asset for us. And then as far as the scheduling and making the signs and everything, Jamie does that, and she's a whiz at that, so she knocks it out pretty quick. But that too was kind of last minute. So not a lot of prep and planning goes into it, but it should. Every year we think we will.
It doesn't show. I mean, it actually looks like you do a lot of prep and planning, so that's why I wonder. But it everything looks like it, kind of gone off with a hitch. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just want to thank you so much for having us.
Oh yeah,
and really appreciate it. Everybody, check out RonCon 2026. It's 2025 now.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep growing. And this is a new venue, right? You didn't have it here before.
Right. We had it down at GoPo. We outgrew them. Jason said we could have it here.
That's awesome.
So we reserved it. And I think we're going to be here again next year.
Awesome. It's a really nice space, too, especially with the concessions and everything.
Yeah, perfect.
It's growing. So thank you, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thank you again.
All right. So we do have other videos in here that I'll play of just other games that you can see here. And it was great, man. Overall, I think it was a very, very pleasurable experience. I'm blown away at the amount of time, effort, and work that Ron and his wife put into it. I would definitely go back. There's one of the rooms that have, a lot of the castles and stuff inside of it and just different types of game. It's great if you're into board games and you want exposure to things. I mean, overall, like what was your general impression?
I started this journey with you a while ago. My eyes have been open to the world of nerds and geeks, and I've discovered my inner nerd and geek. The thing about these, the Comic-Con, the Retro Gaming Convention, this right here, people get to come out and be who they are, All the kids with the costumes and the kids who love these board games that no one's ever heard of, or these card games no one's ever played. That's what I like about it. So I'll stop my soapbox by just saying I love going to these events and seeing people's passion for things.
It is a very similar vibe. By the way, I want to pause on this video here. I don't know if you can see very well. This statue was made by Ron and was going to be given away, and it's a Ryu and it's a gold, and whoever won the Street Fighter tournament got that, by the way.
Well, I mean, look at the detail of the grass below him.
Yeah.
I think there may be a water puddle underneath him and
there
some
is.
dirt and
There
mud.
is.
And
it's
oh
insane.
my gosh.
So yeah, it's just such a great event. I think it's awesome that they do it for the community. Definitely had a great time. I'm glad that they invited us to go, and I'm glad we went and checked it all out. And I think that's like the biggest thing was it's a similar vibe to Comic Cons, like you said. People coming together with positivity to share something that they love doing. And I think that's kind of my ultimate walkaway favorite thing about doing these kinds of things is that you're sharing a love of something. And I don't know, it's just very, very positive. I think that was probably my all-time favorite aspect to this is people getting together. And it's weird too, because you also have eclectic, like people you probably would never play D&D with before or something like that. That's exactly what happened. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I have to go on a little tangent here about. I was really worried about playing with kids and a lot younger generation, but it was good. Their imagination, their
creativity,
the things they come up with, I was impressed. I had so much fun. So D&D and all these other games, to me, it doesn't really matter the age. As long as they're into the game and they're focused and they're wanting to complete the campaign, complete the mission, it's going to be a good time. So I had a really good time. I want to thank Ron and his wife for setting this up. All the game masters. I mean, because
they did great.
Ron and Jamie weren't alone. They had all the game masters to help them out, all the volunteers. It was great.
Yeah, it was a good time. And there's some friends of my daughter's, Cora's, that attended. So you can see all age ranges too. You had young, you had old. It was just, I don't know. The eclectic group was just.
I dare say at one point there had to be 100 people
easy,
at least.
Easy
in the building.
Yeah. Easy. All right. So overall, great event. I'm glad we went. This has been an awesome first episode. I've had some technology differences. Hopefully my camera may have messed up when we were on that. I'll have to get that fixed, but we'll figure it out later. We do have something that we want to promote, though. We now have a Facebook and an Instagram that we'd love everybody to check out. We're going to have it in the show notes at the base of the comments for whatever platform that you're listening to. Please go follow us. We're going to have, we share all kinds of funny, cool stuff out there as well. Not just, updates about when content is updated. So please go out there on Instagram, Facebook, check those things out. What else am I forgetting, Doug? Are we?
I think you're doing good. We still have a merch store. It's pretty cold still. We got some coffee, hoodies, sweatshirts, all kinds of good stuff on there.
I got my swag on.
Hey, I've got a sticker around here somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And my coffee cup somewhere. Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you all for joining us. This has been an awesome start to a season number 3. Like, we've got some cool stuff coming down the way. We've got Comic Cons.
Yep.
We've got retro game cons. We've got interviews. We've got some really cool stuff coming down the way. So definitely stick with us. We appreciate you for the awesome community that you built with us. Check out our socials on Instagram and Facebook and tell your friends. let's keep growing the audience. Thank you, everybody.
Yep. See ya.
All
Thank
right,
you.
take care.